Ziggity zig, back with more Griff Ventures of Griff, and here is Griff down here in the bottom left of, and I think we're on Antigua Shipyard. Are we on Antigua Shipyard? It looks like Antigua Shipyard, and up here in the top is Criminalbaby of the Zerg variety. Oh, excuse me, of the Zerg variety. Now, this game is referred to as, it's actually titled in the replay as Why Not Void Ray. I'm really looking forward to finding out what happens here, because I know Griff has been working on this sort of opening of Phoenix first, just going full on Phoenix, so I kind of want to see what's going to happen here. So at the moment, what you got going on is mostly just sort of workers on both sides. Criminalbaby, I almost said worker baby, that doesn't sound right. Criminalbaby and Griff both with quite a number of initial probes right then and there. Criminalbaby getting pretty lucky in the initial scout direction. Let's see which direction Griff has decided to go in, and yep, looks like they are going to spot each other quite easily. Criminalbaby must have done the extractor trick to get out that extra Zerg drone, but now he's got to get out a couple of overlords. Another chrono boost going down to get some more probes out for Griff at 12 of 18 already, so doing quite well. This is when Griff comes in to see a pretty slow spawning pool. I think Criminalbaby has a pretty good idea as to what's going on, and there's the Nexus, so Criminalbaby now knows where all of the bases are. So, up comes the gateway. The bonus thing about the Overlord is just the easy flying scout that cannot be attacked or attacked back, unless, of course, you're forged and you have a cannon to put up, or you pretty much have to wait until you're Cybercore and you have the first air shooting units. Now, if you're Terran, then you have Marines. Marines shoot up or down, which is pretty lucky for you if you decide to go that particular route. Zerg, sometimes you gotta wait kind of a while until you actually get anything that can shoot upwards, so basically it's just sort of, it's kind of annoying to be sitting there in your base and you're thinking to yourself, aha, here we go, yes, I'm going quite well, and there's just this big giant alien blob sitting over top of my base and I can't do anything about it. Worker supply is effectively even. The EPM is also effectively even, being the effective per minute effective actions per minute. Shouldn't it be EAPM? I'm not even going to question it. So there goes the Cybercorp. No unit out of the gateway. Probably not going to see anything. Might get the Zealot just for the wall. Yeah, okay. Trying to get the Zealot for the wall. Now the interesting thing about this is that with a lot of play with stargates, then up against Zerg, the problem there is that they get a pretty cheap scan. Really, the best way to keep something secret is either to put it somewhere out of your base, or to go, or if it's a PvP, or if you're ever against a Protoss, because Protoss has a hard time doing a basic scout, unless they have, because it takes a while to get up to observer. So you can get away with just about anything until the fastest observer possible. I'm not even sure where that could be. It's got to be basically gateway, cybercore, and then robotics facility right about, immediately, and then you could chrono the observer out from there. So I'm not quite sure when the fastest you could get that. Probably about 6 minutes would be the fastest scout. I think it's with the Terran. You've got orbital scan. What is it? Scanner sweep? Is it scanner sweep? Oh, I can't tell it. Why can I not still tell the difference between StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2? No! Chrono on the Cybercore. I'm losing all my words right now, which is not very good at all. But aha, here's Griff. He's actually using a air shooting unit to have a look and see if there's anything that he can pop up from the top. Doesn't see anything just there. Now he's got this space in the back, which is probably where you're going to start to see badum boom ching. There's the Stargate. Now here's a little bit of pressure on its way down. 3 roaches. That's a pretty fast 3 roach. Now the thing is that Griff's already got the wall maker as well as the wall. So what the force field up here will put an end to that pretty quick. Despite the fact that it's possible that the Zealot will probably run its way down. Griff pops him off. There we go. Pops him at the bottom. So he was paying attention, managed to stop that from happening entirely. Problem there is that Griff's only got... Ooh, it's going to take a minute to get some more force field back, and that's going to suck a little bit. We're seeing some force field happen in the gateway as opposed to in the Cybercore. That's probably a good idea right there. Getting the other 2 gateways, so I'm trying to keep track of that. Now, meantime, the Stargate is done. But up against, 5 roach. Just not quite cooking it at this point. But we're ready for 3 warp gates. About to hop in. Managed to get the Oh, I see, and there's the Overlord. Managed to get the other roaches up because the force field finally went down, but this Overlord was on its way up here just to try to maneuver its way in to try to give it a little bit of a high ground opportunity. 2 Zealots up against this many roaches, probably not going to go all that well. Don't see any Chrono Boost going up against that. There we go. It's going up against a couple of these at the moment, but there's the Cybercore on its way down, so hopefully we can see a warp in any minute now. Do we see a warp in? We've got enough for 3 Stalkers. He's gonna go with Zealots. So the roaches still pile their way in. Here is a Void Ray on its way out, deciding to take out because it is just possibly powerful enough, and that gets rid of the rest of them. But here are some more roaches on their way down, probably ready for a little bit more. Yep, got enough for some more units. Could probably bring these Zealots back up, and oh, it looks like Criminalbaby is mixing up units as well and getting kind of confused. Griff deciding to get in a couple of sentries, which is a really good idea because then that does double duty by filling up the space, filling up the gap, and just making sure that nothing is happening there. Now, it does appear to me that this Void Ray is on its way over, and here it comes. The Void Ray is done, ready, and all set. Burrow technology on its way, as well as this really strange 1 base roach super push. Nothing else going on up here except 1 Evo chamber with no upgrades whatsoever. Here come all the roaches. They're actually heading back to base, so Criminalbaby finally deciding to actually just mass up because yeah, it's just sprawled all over the map. Not quite sure what's going on there, but on the bright side, Griff now was able to hold that off. Units lost. It does look like Griff lost a little bit more on that side of things. However, he possibly is in a slightly better state just because he can defend against this many roaches. So here comes another roach. So yeah, it does sort of look there like Criminalbaby did have a lot of rallied roaches going down to the base at the bottom. The army supply is actually pretty similar, so they are effectively on the same. This I think might be a spore crawler. Oh, I see. So the spore crawler is just in case Griff is going to come in with some Void Rays. Now, deciding to fight off the air, here comes a Hydralisk Den is now nearing completion. Criminalbaby doing a very good job of actually staying on these injects, which is pretty easy when you only have 1 base, but there you go. Here's a small blob of units coming down for Griff. Got the Sentry, Zealot, Stalker, Void Ray combo, and just sort of choosing to, I don't know, check out places that he knows that his opponent is not. A few more units on the way. And you're still seeing the Void Rays be pumped out. So as we go, there are now 3, I believe, on the field. Yes. So 3 on the field, Mutalisk Den, Hydralisk Den, and Spire is now on the way for Criminalbaby, so just deciding to do something about these Void Rays, which is sort of interesting, because realistically, are these burrowed? Yes, they are burrowed roaches in the base, so basically this is just now almost static defense, just waiting for things to come up your way. But at the moment, the army supply is actually starting to favor Griff a little bit, and the worker supply at the same time. For some reason, I looked at one of those lines and not the other. So here come a few more units. There's 1 piece of static defense here for Criminalbaby is the Spore Crawler. No static defense right now for Griff, but mostly just working on additional pylons. Nothing is so far as upgrades at the moment. Could probably work on a little bit of upgrades for the Void Ray, but just sort of choosing and deciding not to. You gotta move up here to take out this midway rock area. Unsure why, but I guess just does not want to get caught off guard. Could probably bring up another base here, but I would definitely say now would be one of the times to try and expand, except 1 gate, 3 gate Stargate is probably pretty intensive on your resources and your income. The income story tells that Griff is only slightly ahead right now. However, that is also allowing him to stay ahead on army supplies. So there goes the Guardian Shield. Hold off against most of these roaches, not having brought anything to defend against all of these roaches. Now the issue there is that there's probably a bunch of Hydralisks on their way down the ramp. Griff cut that off. Is now taking out the hatchery. Criminalbaby deciding to keep these roaches burrowed because no damage is coming to them. Here's another Guardian Shield for the way up the ramp, and this is when the pincer maneuver is probably going to happen, and it looks like this is when Griff is going to fall into quite the trap. The Void Rays are not sure where to move. They think they're all kind of moving over on that side, and everything gets taken out the front. The Roaches pull off everything else from the rear, and these Void Rays are just trying to pop off the remainder of these units, and it looks like if you move the Void Rays to the back to take out the Roaches as they come up the ramp, and maybe these ground units to take out the Spore Crawler and the Queen, they probably would have had a much better chance at that, but it looks like that did not turn out quite as well as Griff wanted. However, the resources are looking effectively the same. Criminalbaby has a small advantage right now. The remainder of the Void Rays are on the way home, despite the fact that Griff is now looking at a fair chunk of change and could be expanding and doing a number of other things, and this looks like, a 4th gateway, so it's going to be 4 gates, Stargate, despite the fact that there's probably going to be a whole lot of Mutalisks on their way in now, so I think warp-ins, not just sentries, but I'm not sure if Griff actually saw anything. Did actually see, nope, did not, wait. How did Griff not get, no, Griff did not get far enough up there to notice that there was a spire, so Griff does not know that there's anything on the way. There's a 15-minute expansion from Griff right there. Why not? That gateway is on its way. There's another pylon on its way down. So you can say this about Griff, he does not get supply block. Not at 52 of 82, not at that. Bunch more units. There's some sentries and some zealots just to keep things on the up and up. But up against that many Mutalisks, you want Blink Stalkers. You pretty much want upgrades by 15 minutes. I'm not sure why, because we're not looking at any upgrades at the moment because there is no forge. The Cybernetics Corps could be working on some of these air weapons and air things, but the thing is that on one base you're just not getting enough gas to handle 4 gates and a Stargate. So it's these expensive Void Rays that are coming up here. However, it looks like there is a possible expansion going on over here by Criminalbaby, not wanting to expand closer to Griff, especially knowing the fact that Griff has come up these broken rocks. But Griff is effectively just standing on the army supply at the moment. Worker supply is still slightly ahead, so the income is still looking pretty good for Griff, just in the fact that Criminalbaby taking out that second base did really help quite a bit, but the only problem now is that why is everyone buried underground? Criminalbaby has been working on most of the units for the moment. Here comes an Overseer to drop in a Changeling. Not quite sure what's going to happen with this Changeling here, but oh, hey guys, I'm totally a Changeling. Don't worry about me. Here I come. And this little zealot's going to come in and have a look at everything. So as far as the scouting goes, Criminalbaby knows pretty much exactly what's going on. But Griff does not have much of a clue as to what's going up in Criminalbaby's camp, despite the fact, so Griff has no idea that there's even the, still hasn't scouted the Spire. However, we're now working on some Phoenix as opposed to the Void Ray. So, of course, why not Void Ray? Why not? Because you eventually realize that when you fight them against things that aren't roaches, they, well, you need a lot of them in order to do any real damage. Void Rays are excellent against Broodlords, roaches, other things that can't fight back, because they are, I mean, they're not quite as rugged as most other things. But the good news there is that Griff is still working on quite a lot of his macro, which is really good. Where was the income tab? That's what I was looking at. Still staying ahead, just because his expansion finally did start to kick in just as Criminalbaby was rebuilding his. Now, not a whole lot happening here except, oh, here we go. Here's a bunch of Mutalisks on their way in, and the bad news is they might come a little bit too close to these Phoenix. Phoenix, come on, Phoenix, get over here and do some damage. There's the Phoenix doing a little bit of damage, and here's a couple of Stalkers being beamed in, which is excellent. Stalkers and Phoenix, this is what you want to do here. The Void Rays come up and just try to handle things, but it's probably not going to be quite fast enough. However, the Void Rays are getting baited a little bit, so the Phoenix remain over there. That did do quite a bit of damage to Griff's resources and lost resources, but the Corruptors and Tunneling Claws, for whatever reason, are on their way in now, so I guess underground moving roaches is something that Criminalbaby wants to have next. Here comes Griff's entire army supply, which is actually quite outnumbering Criminalbaby's right now, getting a few pylons up here on the corner, and which means that you can warp in there on the low ground, which is an excellent way to moving your base forward. One of the things that I usually have a bit of a problem with is just sort of recognizing where my base is in proximity to my opponents. Griff's not really going to take too much of a scout out for anywhere, really wants to scout out this middle area and almost wants to take control of the Zelnaga Tower. Perhaps just one Zealot there to begin with would have been good, as that would have kind of handled things just nicely. So we're up to 6 gates. Oh wait, five gate, 1 stargate could probably get quite a bit more. As far as production, still no upgrades. The income level is starting to take over a little bit for Criminalbaby, just because probably the macroing is going quite a bit better. However, this army is quite fierce in nature and looking pretty impressive as it comes in. And ooh, just misses this entire ball of mutalisks. However, these corruptors are probably not going to enjoy what's about to happen. So Griff just manages to cut off this air army in half, splits them up, and takes care of a few of them, but the Phoenixes do get baited slightly. And now it's time for the Mutalisks to come in here and get a little bit slapped around, but then again, there's Griff beaming in, all 5 Stalkers just getting ready for that while he moves his army up, so the army is still on its way. Meanwhile, there's a bunch of trailing Zealots that are just kind of late to the party, but the majority of the army is up here at the front, doing some damage. Down here, these Stalkers are finally getting down to try to take care of these Mutalisks, and it looks like the Mutalisks are just going to pop off one at a time to these Stalkers who are not getting microed, so this one here at the front is going to get picked off. Oh, any second now with 2 hit points does not get picked off. Here's the remainder of the units up here, but it does look like Griff is doing quite a bit of damage against this army. You have to have a whole lot of static defense in order to hold this off, but it does look like the game is definitely going in Griff's defense. In favor, not defense, favor. Favor is what I meant to say, and Criminalbaby has left the game. Few slow points in there, but gotta say, that was not too bad. Griff probably could have expanded upon that first little venture up to Criminalbaby's base, and perhaps using the Void Rays against the ground-only shooting. If you position your army in a little bit different of a way, then the Void Rays wouldn't have been up against the Spore Crawler, and the ground units wouldn't have been stuck in the back with all the roaches. So, that's my only suggestion right there. But, leave me a comment down below, send me an email, ziggyzig@gmail.com, or you can follow me on Twitter at ZiggyStarcraft. If you want to see any more of myself and that guy Griff just messing around with StarCraft and a few other games, check out our other YouTube channel, which is called youtube.com/limenotlemon. All on one breath once again. Stay tuned!